The wind howled through the valley that night, carrying the cry of something lost or something coming. A lone cabin stood under the dying sun, smoke curling from its chimney like the breath of a tired soul. Inside, a man named Clay Danner sat alone, the kind of man who had made peace with ghosts. But when the knock came at his door that evening, it wasn't death that came calling. It was destiny. Clay had spent 3 winters alone in those mountains. His land stretched from the dry creek bed up to the pine ridge. Too much land for one man, but not enough to escape his past. Folks down in the nearest town, Dry Creek Hollow, said he'd once been a ranch hand, then a gun hand, then something darker. No one knew what brought him here, but they all knew one thing. Clay Danner didn't talk to strangers. That changed the night the tribal chief came. Clay opened his cabin door to find 3 riders waiting. The old chief sat tall on his paint horse, wrapped in a blanket of red and gray. Behind him, 2 young women, both with the same dark hair, the same fierce eyes, stared through the dust. They didn't speak, but their silence carried weight. "White man," the old chief said, his voice slow and tired. "You will be their husband." Clay froze. "Now hold on," he said, his voice rough from disuse. "You've got the wrong man." The old chief shook his head. "The spirits don't choose wrong." He gestured to the younger women. "My daughters, they will stay here. You will protect them. The mountain will judge you both." And before Clay could speak again, the old man turned his horse and rode off into the storm. The night that followed felt unreal. The cabin that once echoed with silence now held the faint sound of breath. 2 strangers sitting by his fire, their eyes watching everything, saying nothing. One of them, the elder sister, moved with calm grace. She tended to the fire, her face soft in the glow. The younger one stayed by the window, looking out into the rain, as if waiting for her father to return. Clay poured himself coffee he didn't need and muttered, "You can't just leave folks on a man's land." The elder sister looked up, her English slow but clear. "He trusts you." Clay almost laughed. "He doesn't know me." Her reply came quiet but sharp. "Maybe you don't know yourself." Those words stuck with him all night. By morning, Clay had half a mind to saddle his horse and ride down to the hollow to find the chief, to set things right. But when he stepped outside, the mountain spoke first. Smoke rose in the distance, black, heavy, moving through the sky like a warning. He squinted toward the horizon and saw it, a trail of riders, rough men with rifles slung low, cutting across the basin. He knew that kind of fire. He'd seen it before, men chasing what wasn't theirs. Inside the cabin, the girls were quiet, but their faces told him they already knew. "They're coming," Clay said. The elder one nodded slowly. "For us." Clay didn't ask questions. He checked his rifle, threw open the barn doors, and started saddling his horse. "Get your things," he told them. But the younger sister shook her head. "This is our place now. Father said mountain will judge." Clay stared at her, so sure, so still, and realized this wasn't just a visit. This was something the chief had seen coming. The riders came by noon. Dust rose before them like a curtain, and when it fell, Clay stood in front of the cabin, rifle in hand. The 2 sisters stood behind him, silent as the hills. The leader of the riders, a scarred man with a grin that didn't reach his eyes, called out, "Step aside, Cowboy. We're only here for the girls." Clay spat in the dirt. "You'll have to go through me first." The man laughed. "You sure you want to die for them?" Clay didn't answer. He just cocked his rifle. And that was the moment the Wild West remembered who Clay Danner really was. The gunfire broke the silence like thunder rolling off the cliffs. When it was over, the dust had settled, and Clay stood breathing hard, smoke curling from his rifle barrel, his hat tipped low. The riders were gone, scattered or down. The cabin still stood. Behind him, the sisters watched with wide, trembling eyes, not out of fear, but out of something deeper, trust, maybe even fate. The elder one stepped forward, placed her hand on his arm, and said softly, "Now you understand why Father left us here." Clay looked at her, the words heavy in his chest. "No, but I reckon I'm starting to." As the sun dipped behind the ridge, Clay sat on the porch, blood on his sleeve and silence in his heart. The mountain wind carried a whisper, part warning, part promise. He looked back at the two women inside, tending to the fire, and for the first time in years, Claydana didn't feel alone. He didn't know what tomorrow would bring, but he knew one thing for sure. He wasn't just protecting strangers anymore. He was protecting family.